Hello, everyone. Starting up a little early, so I'm going to do some chatting beforehand. All right. I'll wait till we get to this opening cutscene while we're hanging out a little bit here before we get started. Hope you are having a good evening. Ready to start the hunt here on Lore du Jour, first episode. I'm getting really excited about this. Namely because I haven't started a new game in a while. This is probably my 6th playthrough of the game, and yeah, I'd really like to get this thing going, start off anew, because all my characters are above level 100 right now, so it's going to be interesting kind of getting the swing of things again and jumping into it, so, but yeah, looking forward to it. Excited to talk about some lore. What's up, Wandering? How are you? Yeah, I am too. I'm beyond excited about this, and I hope that through all this that people don't get too freaked out, because I wasn't ready for some of the things to come into this game. It really spooked me out in some areas, so but I hope y'all enjoy it. I think this is a really, really cool story. Especially one that I was not aware of when I first started, and I'll get into that here in a minute, but definitely something new in this case. So, how was your evening? Hope things are well in your neck of the woods. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of lore. I said that this is going to be kind of the opposite of what I'm used to when I come to play video games, which is just playing through. And I'm like, in this case, item descriptions are on the table, as well as cutscenes are definitely something that I'm going to be viewing to the full extent. Um, Most of these, I think in Bloodborne for the most part, there's not a lot of them, and they're not very long, but they're very impactful. And you can miss a lot in this game without searching. So that's something that I want to explore with this series in general, is getting to talk about lore in a way that most people don't, which, especially for these games, there's so much hidden stuff that kind of uncovering it makes it really interesting. So all right, just gonna go over my notes real quick and get this thing ready. Yes, I have notes. If you don't know me that well, for those who don't, um, I do a lot of note taking, probably to a fault. So, if you'll excuse me, like I said, that's something that it's just kind of a bad habit of mine, I suppose. I think to a fault I'm more organized than a lot of the PAX pals, and I don't mean that in a bad way by any stretch of the imagination. I just, anytime I do a panel, I've got like 8 pages of notes that I cut down to 4 pages of notes to get ready for. So, I think this is kind of the series for me, is that during the afternoon I'm actually sitting down and writing out bullet points of what I want to talk about. So, all right, well, it's about that time. I think it's time to get Boogie in here. So let's start us off with a new game this time. So, new game with our first feature of Lore du Jour, which is Bloodborne. Let us begin.
Oh, yes. Pale blood. Well, you've come to the right place. Yharnam is the home of blood ministration. You need only unravel its mystery. But where's an outsider like yourself to begin? Easy, with a bit of Yharnam blood of your own. But first, you'll need a contract.
So already we get into a beginning part of this game before I do a little customization of my character. That gentleman with the very nice top hat and the gaw around his eye, he actually had a much bigger part when it came to some of the deleted scenes. And there's already a little bit of controversy within this game because it kind of gets into why are you here in this game? And so there's a lot of different theories that already start off. But right now, all we know is that you are an outsider coming into the city of Yharnam. And so Yharnam is this big bustling town. Its foundation, which we'll get into, is very rooted in areas of... They'll talk a lot about a church and power and basically the way they thrive, which is kind of their like financial system, if you will. And so they've got a really interesting story that kind of brings into why you're there in the first place. But you are an outsider. You're coming to Yharnam, and that's all we know right now. So I'm going to start us off with our entry name and everything. And while I'm doing that, and I'm just going to do... Oops, if I could spell... while we're doing that, one of the things I want to talk about is why I decided to do this stream in general. And the main reason I'm really fascinated by this stream is because I played Dark Souls with Dr. Ryan Kelly. And when I was playing Dark Souls, one of the things that I noticed was I played for the most part to survive. I really wasn't trying to do anything other than get through a hard section of an area and then try not to die to a boss. But the more and more I got into it, I started like viewing YouTube videos and so forth, and people were like, hey, did you know that there's this really cool area within the game? Did you know that there's this really cool area within the game that talks a lot about lore and characters and so forth? And oh my gosh, hey everybody, thanks for stopping by. And so I didn't know anything about this. So one of the cool things was I started playing Bloodborne because it was one of my free games on PlayStation. And I definitely played Dark Souls to survive still. But there's so much cool lore that's involved, and there's so much cool stuff as far as, again, character development and so forth. But it's hidden, and I love that about that. So I played Bloodborne about 5 or 6 times, and the more and more I got into it, I was starting to watch videos. The more and more I got it, I was reading, and I just fell in love with this story. And so this is kind of one of the reasons why I wanted to share it with you here. And typically, we talk, Ryan and I talk a lot about builds. I'm going to go with, what was I going to do? Cruel Fate? Yeah. So I'm going to go with Cruel Fate for my character. The appearance, I'm not going to put too much detail into this, other than the fact we'll do... It's like having to do something that looks even remotely like me. That's fine. But I am going to do... the main reason I wanted to do this is because I wanted to show some of these awesome hairstyles. Mainly the one that I always choose, which is the awesome comb over. Yes. You know, you've got your emo look coming right straight out of Panic at the Disco, so forth. Anyway, but the main reason I want to show this is because they have the awesome Dapper Dan mustache. Yes. And I am definitely going to use that. I mean, I don't think I've ever had a mustache in my life, but it's happening. Plus, you don't really see the person's face as it is. So, um, oops, nope. We're gonna go with that right now. So, again, it looks awesome. Here we go. So, again, we are meeting this gentleman for the first time in Yharnam. So, what's up, everybody? I am Clandestine. All right, here we go. And they'll do a lot of item descriptions on the loading screens here. Shut the damn door! Let's see how the loading screens go here.
Good. All signed and sealed. Now, let's begin the transfusion. Oh, don't you worry. Whatever happens, you may think it all a mere bad dream.
So while it may seem kind of creepy at its core right now, you are currently getting a blood transfusion. I don't know, this is how everybody gets a blood transfusion here. I know, I thought it was German at first. And again, there's a lot of controversy as to what's going on with this. Some people debate that this is like how you are chosen to play a certain role in all this. And by all this, I mean your involvement with the game. And now I'm going to introduce you to your closest allies. Believe it or not. The messengers. Alright.
You found yourself a hunter.
So that's kind of the first line that talks a little bit about why you would consider yourself chosen. Because you have resisted something that a lot of people don't have. Now, you wake up here in a hospital bed. First thing, or hospital, it's a clinic. First thing I'll say about Lore du Jour in general, especially with this game, is Bloodborne is very in media res, which means it kind of starts from the middle. It kind of starts from the beginning of the end. So what is occurring here is we're going to talk a little bit about the beginning of this game and like its eons and eons of lore, but we're gonna unravel it as it kind of presents itself in this game. So if you have spoilers, try to keep them to yourself if you can help it. I do want people to discuss fan theories, absolutely, but for right now, I just kind of want to bring all this to light kind of as it presents itself. So right now I can't do much, except there's a note for me right here. Expect this. Seek pale blood to transcend the hunt. So right now I am in Yharnam, more specifically in a place called Yosefka's Clinic. And so Yharnam, like I said, is a big town, and it's founded in one thing very specifically, which is blood. And we knew that through the game Blood-Borne. And with this, we kind of understand that first and foremost, this city is founded on this idea of pale blood. And with pale blood, one of the things that comes out of it is you'll see a lot of kind of monsters as we go around, and there will be a very specific reason. Now, before I get into any of this is the first boss. You have no weapons, as you can see right here. I'm usually about 4 for 6 in defeating this thing on my playthrough, so let's see how this goes. I can't promise I'm going to beat this thing. Oh! Okay, I got lucky on that. So one thing I'm going to do a lot of in this game, except for taking blood vials when I shouldn't, is I'm going to look at item descriptions from time to time. And I don't know if I have it on this one. What I'll say about blood vials, though, are blood vials are the source of this game. Yes. It is Rory Kelly style of what are called visceral attacks. So first and foremost, you'll see that, again, pale blood is the emphasis of this city. And the main thing is you get a blood transfusion, and what occurs with that is when you get this transfusion, it's kind of saying that all blood, or the pale blood in this case, cures all diseases. Which, if you think about it, that's kind of a really cool thing, is anything that ails you will be cured by this pale blood that they try to present through the game. Now the unfortunate thing, actually there's a lot of unfortunate things with this, but the unfortunate thing with this is, first and foremost, pale blood has a laundry list of side effects. This should be in like a pharmaceutical commercial here. Namely that it turns you into a beast eventually. So, while you have your sentience for a while, one of the things you'll note is, and I'm trying to do this while battling, it's kind of harder than I thought. Oh, man.
Away! Away!
Let's see here. Try to hit him from behind. There we go. So like I said, it cures all diseases. So that's kind of a big pull for not only why people are so invited and enticed to get it, but also it's very powerful in the extent that it has formed this city. People travel all over to get this blood. But as you see, it turns people into the beast, as you saw with that werewolf-looking thing. Or the alternative is you become so drunk on the blood that you kind of lose your mind in this case. But there are people, as you can see right here, that they try to ward off the beast from outside.
Oh, you must be a hunter.
Yeah, we're going to get into COVID in a second.
Not one from around here either. I'm Gilbert, a fellow outsider. You must have had a fine time of it. Yharnam has a special way of treating guests.
Yes, they do.
Well, I don't think I could stand if I wanted to, but I'm willing to help if there's anything that can be done.
There's some people...
Whatever your reasons might be, you should plan a swift exit.
Oh, don't worry.
Whatever can be gained from this place, it will do more harm than good.
Alright, so like I said, this place has a terrible secret, and a lot of this is due to the blood transfusion that is creating people into beasts. And you can hear by the coughing, this person's not doing very well either. So now I'm going to do something that's going to start us into the H.P. Lovecraft chapter of this particular story, and go to what's called a hunter's dream. Now this is actually referenced through H.P. Lovecraft. Everything about this is H.P. Lovecraft. Is a dream cycle. It's actually a collection of short stories. And it's basically saying that you can transition from one place to another, one being the dream and one being in reality, which is pretty cool in this case. And I think it's the best way that Dark Souls games have ever rationalized you're going to die a lot in this game. So what happens is you're on a mission. You are what's called a hunter. And this is the hunter's workshop. And you are given some very vague tasks of what you're supposed to be doing. Now, first and foremost, these are our friends. They're called messengers, and messengers take us from one place to another. We're in the Hunter's Dream right now, and they're going to take us to the next place as we progress through the game. Now, normally, Dark Souls is kind of pretty easy in terms of telling you what to do. Bloodborne just kind of decided to put all their instructions here in one spot, just kind of dumped it all on us. Alright. So one of the first things we notice, obviously, is a doll that's here. It's an abandoned doll. As of right now, serves no purpose as to us right now. And the messengers are already giving us gifts. There's not a lot of weapons in Bloodborne. I am a personal fan of the saw cleaver. I know a lot of people that love the axe. But I am a big fan of the saw cleaver because it is faster. And the hunter's pistol. Take that. And a notebook. Alright, so this right here is what's called the Hunter's Workshop. And this is supposed to be kind of where you fine-tune things, equip your weapons, make them better. Basically anything to better equip you with the hunt that is about to begin. So that's kind of how we start here. And so I've got a couple weapons, and I'm about to begin my hunt. But first, I'm going to talk to the first hunter and the owner of this place, whose name is Gehrman.
Aha. You must be the new hunter. Welcome to the Hunter's Dream. This will be your home for now. I am Gehrman. Friend to you hunters. You're sure to be in a fine haze about now, but don't think too hard about it.
Toko, you're a cane boy, nice.
Just go out and kill a few beasts. It's for your own good. You know, it's just what hunters do. You'll get used to it.
So Gehrman's not only the main person of the workshop, he's also your mentor, which his mentorship is, hey, go kill some beasts, dude. You got this. You got this. You got this.
This was once a safe haven for hunters. A workshop where hunters used blood to enhance their...
Yes, and Toko, as you well know, I'm getting into this line.
We don't have as many tools as we once did, but you're welcome to use whatever you find. Even the dog, should it please you.
Gross. Gehrman's kind of an... Well, we'll get into Gehrman a little bit later, but he's kind of a dirty old man in this case. Why is there bubbling water? So, the big thing about Bloodborne in general, especially here, is you are in a dream. This is not necessarily reality here. And so all the bubbles that are here are actually gateways from one world to the next. So it's the dream world and the actual world. And this is the biggest note in the game, honestly. To escape the dreadful hunter's dream, halt the source of the spreaded scourge of the beast, lest the night carry on forever. And besides me knocking over his books like I always do, our goal here is to stop the scourge of the beast. And so I am going to go to Central Yharnam, where this is taking place right now. We don't like books here. Kicking around too many books. Too many books, too many books. So as we mentioned with Yharnam, is blood is the basis of the city's popularity and has the terrible secret. And your role in all this is to hunt beasts, end the long night, and that's about it. That's basically all that's being told. So first and foremost, what is the hunt? And I won't get into too many details of it, but especially the Healing Church, who is the main kind of culprit within this. It's a group of fighters that basically hunt beasts or people that may become beasts. So you'll see a lot of people around here. That person that definitely doesn't want you alive. However, they don't seem like they're quite beast yet. And this is kind of scary when you first think about this, is your job is to not only fight people who have the Beastly Scourge, but may have the Beastly Scourge. So, as you can see, I'm doing a fitting job of that right now. I'm going to try not to die on my first run here as much as I can help it. Another cool thing about Bloodborne is they have these things called trick weapons that I don't use properly ever, and they extend like this to do more long-range attacks. Okay, that over there is an executioner. I am nowhere near ready to fight that thing. This is one of the things I'm going to say about Lore du Jour. We all have our playing styles, and I tend not to fight some things that I think are out of my league at the present moment. So you can call me what you want on that one, but we all have our playing styles, and that one is just mine in particular. I will mention that I love some of the item descriptions, especially with like the pebble. So with our pebble here, can be thrown at foes. Quite thrilling. They have this weird, kind of quirky sense of humor in this game. If memory serves, there's a rifleman right here. One of the most annoying enemies in the game. So you might ask yourself kind of what is going on right now. Like I said, these don't really seem like beasts right now. So this gets into a little bit of the history of the game. So the history of Bloodborne in general actually looks at the hunt in a very interesting way, which is there's a character way back in the beginning, you shall see here that a beast is being burned, named Ludwig. And Ludwig was a hunter underneath Gehrman, who you met in the Hunter's Workshop, and they started to notice as the Scourge was spreading, what was really interesting was, or not interesting, it was horrible, it started to spread faster than what they could do. So what they started doing is they started recruiting the people of Yharnam, known as Yharnamites. And that's who you see right here. Now, a lot of these people right here are beginning... I think I just aggroed every single one of these people all at once. Oh, I ran right into that. Alright. Oh, peripheral vision. So like I said, Ludwig just decided to recruit Yharnamites to help with the Beastly Scourge. And think about this kind of as you're a young Yharnamite, you're at your home, and you're just trying to protect your family from, you know, people that are gonna, or beasts that are gonna try to kill you. So what do is you kind of form a little militia. And so this seems like a good idea at the time, but it's kind of one of these, like, absolute evil corrupts absolutely, as I get shot. And you can see they kind of get this, like, bloodlust. They start to turn on each other and turn on you. They don't trust anyone. And thus begins the hunt. And it seemed like y'all are on the same side, but you're really not. So my job is to try to, basically at this point, survive. Oh boy, that's not good. I am stuck. Ooh. Oh, if I survive this, this will be interesting. Okay. Damn. Everybody's favorite enemy, dogs. I'll say this part. I do not like this section of the game right here. These are what we call ganks, everybody. Multiple enemies that come to attack you, and Bloodborne is full of them. It's actually one of the reasons I didn't like this game to start off with, is because there's so many of these things. It could be a little bit of xenophobia. Actually, there is a part in the game where xenophobia absolutely comes into play. Again, these people just think that they're helping the church in defeating beasts here. Yeah, I think y'all are right on that. A little bit of corruption and a lot of bit of xenophobia here. Like I said, we don't really know where we're from in this game. However, they do not like us. All right. I will mention that if you are a civilian in Yharnam and you're not joining the cause to fight, and you're fearing the beast, chances are you're doing what everybody's doing with COVID, is you're self-quarantining. And honestly, those are the smartest people in this game. Except for Eileen, and we'll get into why she's pretty smart too.
I don't reckon you're from round here. Well, back outside on a night of the hunt. Oh, you poor, poor thing.
What's up, no dear? Yeah, see, they don't really have any sympathy for you because, y'all, everybody is anticipated to be dead by the end of the night here in this case. So you got to worry about beasts, professional hunters, and civilians that become hunters. All right, here's one of the other beasts that I don't think ever was a human, but... All right, that's for you, Ryan. That's what we call Fairy God. Oh, I was about to not get it that time. Oh, and one thing we know about beasts that, you know, there should be some things that are obvious, but is beasts do not like fire. As we see here, certain types of beasts have an abnormal fear to the flame. I see that a lot of beasts do not like fire, which, you know, I can understand that. Those who ate dinner with me at PAX East, and they know a bit of a different story. Okay, hold on. So if you're listening very carefully, this is an Easter egg that references the end game. And it's a lullaby being played, and it's pretty spooky when you actually think about it as you progress through the game. I won't get into that though, but it is kind of a cool Easter egg if you're not familiar with it. Alright, let's see if am I being chased yet? No. Oh yeah, I can't, I have to get it from the other side. Notably, I played this game about 10 minutes ago. It's like I've got the route all figured out, and then I don't remember where to go. I think the hunt is also really interesting because many of the people who are civilian hunters are constantly looking their own shoulders because they're like, what if my brethren becomes a beast? And then you've got to do... It's very... most zombie movies, right? Where you've got... I've got to do something because now my friend is a monster. And I've got to make sure I purge them. They are so fast sometimes. That's one thing about this game is... Oh boy. It is fast. It's much faster than Dark Souls. And they don't really care for getting behind a shield. You don't really have shields in this game until very end games. Or, well, you can find one early in the game, but it's useless. Alright, let's get to the bridge. And I'm gonna show y'all a part that you can miss really easily if you're not paying attention. I'm not messing with those guys right yet. Alright. So I'm going to look at this real quick and get in my inventory. So, the Bloodstone Shard is what we tried to do to fortify our weapons so they make them stronger. In this case, I agree, Toko. I really love the aggressive style of play in this game. I hope there's not going to be something behind me. That's usually what it leads to. Pebble will actually work really well here about what I'm about to do. I really do not like this part, but as they say, good for the stream, right? Let's see. Alright, there's a ladder here, and I always miss it. There it is. Okay. Alright. You may hear that noise. This is a nice thing I like about Bloodborne. It relies... Dark Souls in general relies a lot on audio cues. Alright, I am garbage at fighting these things, so I'm just going to do my best. That's all we can ask of anybody, right? Oops. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. There's one. You know, this is the thing with this game, you get greedy. You get greedy in this play. And that's just what happens. Alright, I think... if you want to, you can absolutely keep track. It's going to happen a lot. So... and I have a good feeling I'm not going to get those back. I'm going to try, but... my track record for getting blood echoes back in this game is never really good. Oh, right. I forgot. Is this the right way to go? Do I have to go through the hunt again? I think I do. Alright, I'm just going to speedrun this and see how it goes. Probably not very well, but we'll find out. Oops. Might help if I don't target. Excuse me, everybody. Pardon me. Oh, excuse me. Pardon me. Look, roasting good old Noadir keeps the attention off me, so that may be a good thing. Alright. One thing I'll say, it's hard to outrun dogs in this game. So... oh boy. Alright. Forgot how hard it is to tell story while running for my life for things. So you met, through this specific part, is some of the Yharnamites actually grow larger as they become more afflicted. And we'll get into that a little bit as to why that is. There's a lot of theories why you actually get bigger and kind of as a more terrifying monster. But, alright, let's see. Who has them? Or does anybody have them? Oh, I did fall, so that... I'm gonna keep my eye on both of these guys. Oh, got him in a stun lock. Come on, come on, come on. Alright. Alright, I practice with you the most, so... Oh, you have them. I see. Oh. Practice means nothing in stream, everybody. There we go. And now I got my blood echoes back. Alright! This, I think, is probably one of my favorite, despite the way I'm playing right now, is probably one of my favorite opening levels in, I mean, most video games. There's so much interconnectivity here. And the other thing I like about it is you can go after really hard enemies, or you can kind of keep it safe, however you want to do it. These damn rats hit harder than I remember. Where are you? Okay, at least pique those two interests. I don't think they're gonna come after me. There's a very specific reason of why I'm down here, which will become more apparent here in a minute. Alright. I'm gonna be at full health for this one, because he's guarding what I want. Come on. Oh, he got me on that one. There we go. You know, taking my shiny away like that is just not nice. Just dangling a shiny, which is probably blood echoes, or blood vials, which I could use. Ah. Now we have armor. So this is a fine piece of hunter attire that has stable defense to anybody that's facing Yharnam's beastly threat. And it is fashioned by the workshop. Oh, I'm going to show my physique here. Alright. And like I said, you really can never see the person's face for the most part. And see, just like with what's going on right now, wearing a face mask. See, that's smart. The people that are in the know are smart when it comes to this hunt. As I left this one alive up here, this might not end well. We'll find out. I like I'm doing a lot of cliffhangers with this. Where is he? Okay. He hasn't spotted me yet. Should I go after him? I probably shouldn't, but... Alright. Very good. That's another thing y'all can keep count of. It's my death to parry god ratio. Right now I'm 2 for 1. Parry god is leading. Although my death counter is about to go up because I never do this thing well right here. They decide to like give you like a tightrope to get through. There we go. All right. I don't know if I want to go through the hunt again right now, which is what they call this down here. This little section is just flagrantly called the hunt. You know, everybody seems to be doing well, hanging out with their Yharnamite buddies, enjoying the hunt, you know? Burning some beasts. Oh, but I actually know a shortcut, and if I can get to it, I might just do that and do what should be the first rule of any Soulsborne game. Wow, he came up quick. Is spend your souls. Oh, I aggroed the other one. That's not good. Oh, I don't see him yet. Oh, there he is. Ah! Yeah, I'm definitely upgrading my weapon before I fight the first boss of this game. Yeah, now that I've got some blood shards. Sweet. Alright. The other thing I'll say about blood vials in this case, they're very intoxicating. They're supposed to be more intoxicating than alcohol, which is kind of why everybody's kind of developed a dependence for them. Alright, let's get out my torch. I know that there's some guys hiding behind barrels around here. And here's a good rule of Soulsborne games. If you see a shiny, chances are there's someone about to ambush you for it. Oh man, I'm sorry about you here, the interns. That's terrible. I really appreciate y'all coming here, hanging out with me. I love these games. They're really fun. They're stressful, but they're a lot of fun. And I'm just glad that y'all are here, enjoying the first episode. One thing I'll say is, if you have any questions, like if something I say about the story doesn't make any sense, throw up a big T and let me know if there's something that you feel like needs further explanation. Oh no, I forgot. I don't have any... Oh boy, this, I just realized something. I think I just wasted a trip. And I don't remember where the thing I want is. Yep, not gonna help me right now. Yeah, Toko, you saw right through me on that one. And honestly, I don't remember where the first one is. That's okay. I will say, is kind of going through an in media res style of this. It's kind of difficult when they give you the item descriptions, like that might be something that will come in much later in the game. Like I said, really the only people you need to know through this game, especially is like Ludwig, for instance. Again, one of the first hunters that kind of began everything here. And I'm trying to remember where is the best place to go. There we go, through the house. Take this guy down. And don't worry, I'm not forgetting about a very specific section. I'm just trying to find a way to upgrade my weapons here. I don't like that move. Really? Are y'all both gonna come up? There you go. Very good. Here's another thing about Bloodborne you should know. The bigger they are, the faster they are. Doesn't make any sense, right? You'd be right. There we go. Which crow? I know there's some around the crows, but there's so many like crow sets around here. I think there's actually one around here. Somewhere. I know there's a shortcut over here. Leads you through the other side of the door. That's out of the house I was in that I was using the torch. And again, I love this about this game, of how intertwined and interconnected everything is. Oh, maybe I'll get lucky here. Nope. Cold Blood Dew is actually like frozen blood. And kind of one of the benefits of it is it adds to your healing. So you can actually use it when you're trying to upgrade things. One thing I'll say about this game is if there are dogs in cages, chances are if you do something wrong, they will let them out of those cages, and you do not want that. Oh, I think there's one around here. This is another dangling shiny where, in this case, a dog is. This is kind of a cool mechanic by Bloodborne, kind of getting you to talk to people that are burning incense.
Do you know of any safe places? I've heard I have. Shutting up indoors isn't always enough. Well, if you once had got off your arse, you wouldn't be in this mess. You're obligated to help me, you hear?
Man, mood.
So what'll it be? Are you going to tell me you're not?
No.
Should have known. Good for nothing. No respect for the elderly is what that is.
Feeling really targeted right now.
What good you outsiders do. Go on. Admit it. You think we're all mad, don't you?
No, we're kind of related
Stop it.
in this sense right now, so we're I get you. I understand. This is actually going to be a big part of the game. In this case, I'll get into this in later episodes, but this incense actually deters the beasts. And so a lot of people put it outside their windows to keep away the beastly scourge. Alright, yeah, I'm going to do it. Here's another cool thing, another place that you might miss. And I'm going to go meet up with one of my favorite characters of the game. And kind of helping explain a little bit more about what's going on. I swear I'm finding more Cold Blood Dew and not enough of what I want. I'll leave that alone for now. Alright, so this starts an NPC line of, again, one of my favorite characters. Her name is Eileen. Let's talk to her real quick.
Oh. A hunter, are you? And an outsider? What a mess you've been caught up in. And tonight of all nights. Here, to welcome the new hunter. Prepare yourself for the worst. There are no humans left. They're all flesh-hungry beasts now.
Kind of keep talking to her.
About. What's wrong? A hunter unnerved by a few beasts. No matter. Without fear in our hearts, we're little different from the beasts themselves. What are
Do it
you
one more
still
time.
doing here? Enough trembling in your boots.
Go on then.
A hunter must hunt.
Hunter. So we don't know a lot about Eileen other than her awesome accent. You can fight her. It's not recommended. And I actually want to introduce one thing to this particular part of the game, is I do want to allow y'all to make some choices. This is one I'm going to veto the choice, and I only want to because I think her part of the story is really essential in terms of trying to tell it. So I'm going to leave her alive. If I tried to fight her right now, she would make very quick work of me. I'm surprised I did not take that much falling damage out of that. Sneak up on this guy. I'm talking quietly, like he can hear me in game. Alright, so now Rifleman spotted me. Where are you? Sign! Sign! Come on, Rickon! Sign! Sign pattern. How the cold blood do? I swear. I don't know, Skyman. Honestly, I just started doing this to play more Bloodborne. That thing... Oh boy, he spotted me and he's coming right after me. This is bad. There we go. At this point, I might as well just find the shortcut. I know I'll find what I'm looking for. Alright. Burn, pebble. Just because you weren't here for all of it. I can do recaps. Like I said, if you want me to do recaps. Alright. We'll mention that this hunt that's going on right here, actually, I think... Sorry, I just jogged my own memory. I think I know where the item I'm looking for is around here. I know I keep mentioning that like it's some grand thing. And honestly, I'll find them more and more as I go through this. Alright. People that hide into the muck. I'm gonna do what I like to do, which is grab the shiny and get out of there. I'm not dealing with that gank right now. There's another thing that goes in with the lore of this game in particular in terms of how the blood affects people, and it's really based on their surroundings. And so, I'm not saying a lot of people live down here, but I kind of feel like if you played Skyrim, it might be a little bit like Riften. You know? Anybody knows Riften? Little port town. These things are following me. That's awesome. I know Wandering would know. I would love to do a lore dive into Skyrim. That would be amazing. Alright. Shortcut. But first, I want to talk to this big pig right here. I know he's going to come out. Oh, wow. Really? It hit me? So we're getting some blood vials. There's also some cool stuff back here. Full blood dew. And the Saw Hunter badge. Alright. I just threw a pebble. Been used to playing Persona. So Saw Hunter badge. This is one of the groups that are within the workshop. And so in this particular instance, in this case, it's the possession of this badge. Certain things can only be entrusted to a hunter in his possession of this badge, or so they believe. So you can get actually certain weapons and armor with this set, which is pretty cool. And Toko, I know you know where I am right now. Like, I do not like this one bit. Because as of right now, I'm sitting on a lot of echoes for the beginning game. Are they really chasing after me this second? Oh, wow, I went in the wrong direction. Hold on. Not ready for that part yet. I'm going to do things a little bit differently. I am having a ball with this. Okay, let's hit the shortcut here. Huzzah! Shortcut! Elevators are our friends, y'all. Don't ever forget that. Let's see here. I'm gonna make the necessary. I think I'm okay with what I've got right now. Yeah. I'm at least gonna upgrade my weapon real quick. just like just now catching up on the comments. I apologize, I haven't been reading them as much. See, already Gehrman's gone. Alright. So now I can upgrade my weapons a little bit. And the messengers are so nice that they opened up a shop. Isn't that nice? And I know I'm committing a bit of a cardinal sin by buying a few things, but... Let's go to Central Yharnam. And we're going to talk a little bit about beasts. Most of these beasts that you will see are humanoid size. They don't span too much bigger than that for the most part, because because of them going through the Scourge, they are basically evolving from humans in this case, or kind of devolving, I should say, just because they're losing all their sentience and all this kind of stuff. But there are some beasts that are actually bigger. And this is one of the reasons why this same character that I keep bringing up, Ludwig, actually got a monstrous sword to defeat much bigger beasts. And that becomes pretty important. Now, I'm leaving free stuff on the ground. That's a cardinal sin. And one thing that's interesting that kind of comes up through this particular game is you'll hear some of the Yharnamites as you defeat them saying that you're the beast, calling you a cursed beast. And actually this is really important, that in many cases throughout this story, the question is, who is the actual bad person? Is it you, or is it the things that you are fighting? Alright, this is a little tricky. Let's see if I can see what he does. Very good. Woo. Not a good situation, but that's not who I'm targeting. It's the giant. Stop targeting the crow. Target the big thing with the brick coming at you. So what we know as far as the baddies are concerned are these are people that have had blood transfusion. And although it cures diseases, it actually turns you into beasts in this case. The next episode, which we'll do next Tuesday, we'll actually dive into that a lot more. I don't want to spoil it just yet, so... Here's another beast. And remember, beasts don't like fire, so let's take advantage of that. So here we have our first boss, the Cleric beast. Try to focus a little bit on here. That's not good. Oh boy. Yes, we do actually know where the blood comes from. It is an ancient source. However, I don't want to get into that just yet because it gets into some really interesting stuff later down the road. This will still work on this guy. I'm sorry. The reveal is so good, though. I missed a visceral. That's not good. Yes. Beast Boss have one clear strategy. Hug the booty, as it is always put. And for the most part, it works. Exhibit A. Huzzah! One thing I'll mention about the blood, in this case, with the beast, is I have a theory, because that was what's known as the Cleric beast, which is associated with a church. It's theorized by some people that the Cleric beasts are the reason that you are become larger beasts is because you're affiliated with the church, and I don't really believe that. I think it's more of a class system of that they have more access to these things. They have more access to the blood, and so as they're gaining more and more of it, they descend more and more out of their sentience and become much larger beasts, literally. Let's see what the messengers... And so one thing that I gained in this case is insight. And insight helps me see things that I wouldn't normally see, which is pretty cool. It kind of uncovers the truth around you and things. So remember, the doll, in this case, who was not moving at all, is now...
Hello, good hunter.
Speaking to us.
I am a doll, here in this dream to look after you. Honorable hunter, pursue the echoes of blood.
Oops! I dropped my controller.
Hunter, I am honorable hunter, and I will channel them into your strength. You will hunt beasts.
I know, I'm sorry.
I will be here for you, to embolden your sickly spirit.
I feel so terrible.
Very well. Let the echoes become your strength. Let me stand close.
Oh my gosh, I feel horrible. I'm a terrible, terrible person.
Farewell, good hunt.
It does hurt. The doll doesn't... nothing bad to anybody. And is a wonderful helper of the hunter's dream. And so, hitting the poor doll is blasphemy to me. And I've only done it twice.
Welcome, what is it?
Nope.
Very well, let me...
Let's see. I'm gonna keep... Actually, I'm gonna boost up vitality a little bit more. Especially as to what's about to happen. You know, it's funny, that's actually somewhat true that happened. That I hit the Firekeeper, but that's actually because I dropped off a higher level and just happened to land on the Firekeeper. And once again, I felt horrible. Gosh, I was looking at my notes and I dropped the controller, and that's what happened. Yeah, and that's exactly what happens. in that case, the Firekeeper actually apologizes to you. Say, I just don't know what I did wrong. I'm so sorry. Monster! Alright. I know notes are not helping anybody right now. Okay. So there is one thing I really would like to make sure that I do. And it actually takes me in the direction of where I went to Eileen. So this is a really specific plot point that is kind of a subplot within the game, but it's really important to how we know the blood affects people and their families around them. So we're gonna go talk to one of the inhabitants. And this isn't the person that told me to basically go to hell. I mean, most of these people will. They don't like you. The civilians that are minding their own business, they don't want to associate with you. Ooh, that was lucky. I'm holding the torch, I think. Nope. Really? There we go. I know. I'm not happy about it either, but we got to talk about it. I'm gonna ignore this for now. Oh, as soon as that, I get shot in the back. Isn't that how it always goes? Making sure there's nothing chasing me. So no, this is not actually... Right now, this is IRL, if you will. You transfer between dream and reality. And again, each time that it's basically two simultaneous worlds. And this is kind of, again, where the H.P. Lovecraft stuff comes in. Oh, Toko, I think this is what you were talking about. Yep. So let's, provided I'm safe, which is a dangerous thing to say in this game. Touched by the wisdom of a great one. So you might ask yourself, where does this blood come from? The blood comes from the Great Ones, which are beings that are much higher power and much more intelligent than us. They can actually live from their own thoughts. And they do not need the same needs that we do as far as like food and so forth. So they gain this power, this blood, from what is called the Great Ones. And to understand the Eldritch wisdom that you see here, you gain these little things called Madman's Knowledge to understand a little bit greater purpose and prosperity. And the more you get, the more you understand a little bit more about the world around you. Alright. I wonder if there's somebody in there. Maybe not. Alright, let's talk to one of the inhabitants of Yharnam. But first, because I always forget, to open another shortcut door. Oh, thanks for stopping by, Noah dear. Alright, new inhabitant.
Are you? I don't know your voice.
I know that smell. Are you a hunter? Maybe it's we look for my mum. Daddy never came back from the hunt, and she went to find him. But now she's gone too. I'm all alone and scared.
I mean, I'm gonna find the girl's mother.
Really? Oh, thank you. My mum wears a red jeweled brooch. It's so big and beautiful. You won't miss it. Oh, I mustn't forget. If you find my mum, give her this music box. It plays one of Daddy's favourite songs. And when Daddy forgets us, we play it for him so he remembers. Mum's so silly when I'm off without it.
Alright. So let's pick this thing up. Where is the music box? Small music box received from a young Yharnam girl plays a song shared by her mother and father. Inside, small scrap of paper, perhaps an old message. The two names that can be read are made out, Viola and Gascoigne. So that is our next person within our story. Is a member, or former member, of the church, as well as exceptional hunter Gascoigne. And Gascoigne and his wife Viola have two little girls. And these two little girls are residents in Yharnam. Gascoigne is an outsider. He wanted to be part of the church. We're not sure as to why. But what we do know is that he had a fascination with the blood, fascination with the church, and decided to hunt beasts. And once he started to have a family, my guess is he kind of left that life, but still was very dedicated to making sure that he continued the hunt. And helping the people of Yharnam out. So that's really important there. So the little girl is searching for her mother, and that's who we are going to go look for. And to do that, we're going through the second area of the hunt. And this is tricky. Let's see if I can do this correctly. Do it. Woo! And that worked out way better than I thought it would. At a sidetrack, but in one of our Twitter exchanges, I read about how blood... Yeah, I want to talk more about that later on, about basically what's more important is the pale blood or the insight of basically why everybody's doing this in the first place. And that's really what I want to talk about for next episode when we get to that part, is why this obsession over blood? Why are people so infatuated by it to the point where they are not doing anything about this? Because obviously what's going on here is horrible, and yet there isn't a lot being done. So let's see, I'm going to make sure I have the music box. And let's go find Gascoigne. Found him! So one thing they don't talk a lot about in Bloodborne at first is that not only do monsters become basically possessed by the blood, but those who fight basically in the name of the city and the name of, quote, what's right, become blood drunk.
Beasts all over the shop. You'll be one of them, sooner or later.
Gascoigne's church garb is not quarantine improved. So Gascoigne is blood drunk. And he is coming after me, and quickly, I might add. That. That was a wasted parry.
What's that smell? The sweet blood. Oh, it sings to me. It's enough to make a man sick.
Bad dodge. Alright, now Gascoigne transforms. Holy crap, he's fast. I forgot how fast he was. Ah! Who's got the tally? Of all my playthroughs that I've fought Gascoigne, I've only defeated him on the first try once. I've never done that fight on the first time. At least I've got bullets again. Yeah, I think 2 or 3. That makes sense. Let's see. It's a little bit safer to go this way. Of course, I say that, and that's how deaths occur. So when I say, this is the easy part. This is not gonna have any problem with this part. It helps, when I have bullets, and even more so when I use them effectively, which in this particular case I did neither. I think he had me. Neener, neener. Alright, now I get to go through this again. Oh, are they gonna roll that thing or what? On the other thing, or the other hand, that never happens. Alright, I'm gonna just try to ignore these two. They're cool, they're not hurting anybody. Yet. Is he still following me? It sure is. Holy crap, I am getting the F out of Dodge there. Oh boy, that was dumb. Man, I missed the parry again, gosh. I tried, it didn't work. Oh, now you react to it. I will take those, thank you very much. I never said Gascoigne was easy. He's one of my favorite bosses, though, in the whole damn game. He's so... It is a fun game. It is a fun boss. Now, again, Gascoigne was consumed by bloodlust. And you can see as he kind of hacked away at Yharnamites and monsters around this area. Not that this is... the result of it through these tombs here. I thought there was an item around down at the bottom here, but I'm going to show you something that's... Oh, does it really? I didn't know that, actually, about the actual music box. The music box, as I've got here, if you play it, you notice that the monster, granted, way late, I don't know why it aggroed the way that it did, not aggroed, why it registered then, but that's a song that Gascoigne remembers, and he kind of remembered himself in that moment, which is why he was shaking his head profusely, trying to remember something he had lost. So, as you come over here, you find Viola. And you find her brooch. Viola has passed away, and when I say passed away, actually, there's a lot of speculation as to what has exactly happened. So there's a theory that that she was murdered by Yharnamites, and thus Gascoigne went into his fit of rage. But then the other theory is that actually that Gascoigne killed his wife, because he started to not be able to separate himself from those around him. So we're not exactly sure as to why. And in fact, at the end of the Gascoigne fight, it's theorized, I'm not 100% sure, it's like trying to spin a record backwards and hearing some kind of message, but it's theorized that he actually says, "Forgive me," when he dies in your fight against him. I don't know how true that is. I think I hear it sometimes, but that's merely speculation. But it is pretty cool nonetheless, and it really gets into a very sad part of it. So we're going to open up the Oldham Tomb. We are in the Oldham Graveyard right now. We'll talk a little bit more about Odin here soon. Yeah, it's hard to say. The way that she was thrown to the ground there. I'm actually going to go back and remember that you did not kill that big giant, so... Which, I'm going to leave this to y'all. Do I tell the little girl about the brooch? So I'm going to leave this to the comment sections. Do I mention about the brooch to the little girl and mention about her mother and father? And while y'all are deciding that, I'm going to head in that direction. What's up, Mutan? So I think Toko is saying, hey, let's tell this little girl maybe not tell her that her parents have passed, but at least mention that you might want to find a way to go somewhere safe. And realizing that, I feel like I missed something that I should have done. Anyway, Toko. So don't tell about her parents passing, but mention about a safe place. Yes, so Viola and Gascoigne were the parents of the little girl that resides in the window that I'm about to go to again. What? There we go. Very good. Yeah, try not to spoil it if you can help it, Toko. But I am going to go talk to her.
Hello, Mr. Hunter. Still can't find my mum.
Alright, y'all. Give the brooch or do not. So, Space Crow is saying give the brooch. Space Cowboy, sorry. I got Bloodborne on the on the brain. Crows are kind of synonymous around here. What else? I think I gave an unfortunate decision. I know. I know. I was in the same boat when I first played this game too. All right, we're gonna give the brooch.
Mr. Hunter, was it really her? Mummy? Mummy? Leave me alone.
Alright, so unfortunately we are going to have to K-bye for a second, but I am going to come back to this. Pardon. I'm gonna climb up the ladder again. Yeah, I'm gonna revisit before this episode is over. I don't want to go into Cathedral Ward just yet, but there is one or two things I want to do before I end this episode tonight. This actually didn't take me as long as I thought it was going to get through this. Now, I guess it helps that I'm sprinting through certain parts of it. Alright, going through the Odin graveyard. And up the stairs we go. To our next place of interest. I told you I wasn't going to go into Cathedral Ward, but I got to do one stop here first. Alright, Blood Gem Workshop Tool. Don't leave home without one. Every hunter loves their workshop tool. So blood gems in this case are there to fortify weapons, and they become a big source. Now, I will say this, for those who've played this game, I don't know if I'm the best person for how to use these very well. I had a conversation while somebody was watching me, and they kind of mentioned like, oh, you could use this one and this one, and all of a sudden I was like 10 times better. So I don't like backseat gaming for the most part. However, I might ask from time to time what might be better. So unsolicited backseat gaming is what I'll say. How about that? So this is Act 2 of the game, and ultimately the starting point of next episode of Lore du Jour next week. We're not quite done here. However, this is getting into another section of major backstory, and I really want to talk about it next week.
Oh, you must be a hunter. Very sorry. The incense must have masked your scent. Good, good. I've been waiting for one of your ilk. These hunts have everyone all locked up inside, waiting for it to end. It always does, always has, you know, since forever. But it won't end nicely, not this time. Even some folks hiding inside are going bad. The screams of women folk, the stench of blood, the snarls of beasts, none of them's too uncommon now. Yharnam's done for, tell ya. But if you spot anyone with their wits about them, tell them about this here Odin chapel. They'll be safe here. The incense wards off the beasts. Spread the word. Tell them to come on over, if you wouldn't mind.
Dr. Space Cowboy asking so many good questions. The hunt in this case was originally created to void the beastly scourge. And so if they saw people that had either turned into a beast or might turn into a beast, they would assign people who were hunters to go out and purge them. So that was the main reason for the hunt. And so this is your role, is to defeat beasts in this case. So, I mean, we can go more and more into it. But before we do, this is the Chapel Dweller. And the Chapel Dweller is just a swell person. And he's just basically saying, look, I've got all this incense around me. And so if you see anybody that needs help and you want to be able to talk with them and get them to a safe place, this is a safe place for them to be. Because, you know, if you think about it, in this case, the houses where the Yharnamites are might run out of incense, and thus might have some issues there with the scourge around them.
I shouldn't be asking you, but if you happen upon someone while hunting, tell them about this here Odin chapel. If they seem worth being told, that is. Oh, and I do sincerely hope they are. I know, if you happen,
okay.
If they seem worth being.
Alright, let's go back to the hunter stream. Got a few errands to run. Yeah, it is the question, do we trust the Chapel Dweller? What's up, Maddie? I've seen you in Bloodborne, Maddie. I hope you're liking the game.
Very well, let me.
No, not right now. I appreciate it, though.
Over time, countless hunters have visited this dream. The graves here stand in their memory. It all seems so long ago now. Farewell, good hunter. May you find your worth in the waking world.
I always feel like I've got to finish that line. So, this is an important thing within the dream, is that basically your job, task, is to go hunt beasts until you find the way to end the scourge, and thus your hunt is over, and you can end the dream for you. So you can escape the dream. And you can't see them along the lines too much around this particular area, But as you get towards the end of the game, you'll see more and more gravestones for saying how long this hunt has been going on for other people. So I'm going to take advice from the Chapel Dweller, and I am going to go to, let's see, do I want to go to the Tomb of Odin, or I guess Central Yharnam's not a bad place to go here. And I'm going to go talk to the little girl, and we've got another decision to make. Oh, actually, I just thought of something. I always forget this, and yet I shouldn't, because it's a pretty important part of the story. Because this will add more decisions as to where safe haven might be. Now I just gotta remember what's the best way to get there from here. I don't think it's a far go from here. I'm actually gonna go down this way for now. It's the executioner of the hunt. I'll go down this way. Yes. I'm actually gonna go back to where we started first, into Yosefka's clinic. I'm trying to remember if this was just a... Oh, okay. That was just instructions. So let's go talk to Yosefka.
Oh, well, hello. Splendid. Let me ask you a small kindness. You're soon off to hunt, I presume? Then, if you find any survivors, tell them to seek Yosefka's clinic. Upon my Hippocratic oath, if they are yet human, I will look after them. Perhaps even cure them. This sickness, these beasts, they are not to be feared. This time the night is long. I may be trapped here, but I should do something to help. I'll even offer a reward for your cooperation. Tempted? Well, off you go then.
So Yosefka, again, who owns this clinic, does a lot with blood transfusion. Now, one thing I find that's interesting, she actually kind of changes her rhetoric a little bit. Yeah, wandering. Absolutely. Because I missed the first cue. When you first talk to her, she actually will tell you something to the effect of she really doesn't want to have much to do with anybody around them. But then she kind of comes in, has a little bit of a change of heart, and says, hey, if you can find anybody that's has the sickness, let me know and bring them here. So if there are any survivors. Space Cowboy. I might just like a bagel with my coffee. I haven't heard a Boondock Saints quote in a long time. But it is much appreciated. Alright. Oh, I'm gonna have to fight this thing. For sure. So that's the question, Toko. Do we trust the Chapel Dweller, or do we trust Yosefka? And we will be given the option throughout the game, if we find survivors, do we send them to Yosefka's clinic, or do we send them to the Chapel Dweller? So let's see here. I'm just trying to find the, quote, safest way to that particular part, even though I don't think there is such a thing. Oh, I think I missed one part, but that's okay. I'll come back to it. Slogging up this ladder. Alright. So after... Provided because I missed the back stab last time. Much better. Alright, provided this dialogue triggers, I think it will. Okay. So we do not get that option. There is nobody there anymore. Now I'm going to double check something. Come on, pig. In reality, I just don't want that thing charging at me. So I want to mention a little bit about that scene with the girl. There are a couple options that occur. And it's the reason why I went after the pig just now. Now, one thing you can do is not tell them about the brooch. And she'll be kind of curious as to, hey, Mr. Hunter, what's going on? I'm still a little confused. And you tell her, hey, look, I'm not exactly sure what has occurred. But you can go, we can try to find you a safe place to go. I tried to parry with a torch. Let's try to focus here for a minute. Okay. So you can not tell her about the brooch, and she'll say, you know, hey, what's going on? Is everything okay? And you can tell her about Yusefka's clinic or Odin Chapel. Unfortunately, none of the outcomes go very well for the little girl. Because if you tell her about Yusefka's clinic, then what ends up occurring is she goes trying to find it, and that pig I just killed, you find out that, gosh, I don't hate saying this, the pig eats the little girl. So that is an outcome that could happen, and it is clearly evidenced because she wears a white ribbon, and that's the item you find on the pig after you defeat it. So it's a kind of a thing within the Bloodborne community is we have no sympathy for that pig whatsoever. It gets everything that comes to it because it is a terrible, terrible thing, and we can't stand it. So the other option is that you not only don't tell about the brooch, but you don't... No, she does not make it to the clinic. Oh, the clinic. Yes, she does make it to the clinic. However, she won't make it to the chapel if you send her there. So those are the kind of outcomes that occur out of it. So that's Yharnam, everybody. Again, the whole premise with this is understanding that there is a hunt that is going on based on the scourge that is caused by the blood. Now, we might wonder a little bit further into where does the blood come from? And we might wonder a little bit about what is causing all this madness and what is causing, or why do people keep wanting to come back to it? And for those answers, we are going to come back next Tuesday and find out a little bit about Cathedral Ward and the Healing Church. So, first and foremost, thank you all for joining me today. I hope you all had a good time, despite how depressing that this can be. There will be some depressing parts on it, but I always enjoy doing this. I always enjoy talking lore. Make sure to reach out to me on Twitter if you want to talk more fan theories and so forth. It's FusroDoc if you're not following me already. But I talk about this a lot, and especially Toko and I. Toko and I talk a lot of fan theories. And yes, Fusro, thank you, Dr. Space Cowboy, for putting that out there. So I am a big Skyrim fan, thus the name, and I'm still surprised it was not taken. So anyway, join in next time when we talk a lot about the Healing Church, why the blood exists, and why we need to continue on with the hunt. So thank you all very much for joining me, and I hope you all have a great night. Stay safe. Take care.